Hello fellow leggers, thank you for joining us once again in London's West End, where we are at the Gillian Lynne Theatre.
We are formerly the New London Theatre, but it's had a lick of paint and a new name slapped on it, and it's now the Gillian Lynne, where it is hosting the brand new Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, Cinderella.
So stick around fellow leggers to hear all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars,
Whether it's break a leg
or leg it.
anticipated.
And much anticipated, and I would
Cinderella.
say, throughout COVID, a lot of shows have had some false starts, but none of
This
them
one's
have we
had it
heard.
hard.
Have we heard anything louder about than this one? Because Andrew Lloyd Webber has used every single opportunity to, speak out about the pandemic quite rightly, and the fact the government really screwed up the arts. Let's not mention the fact that he's been a Tory voter for most of his life and has caused a lot of problems.
It's come to bite him.
Funny
on
that,
the
isn't it?
situation.
Because it will. These things will bite you in the arse. But all of that aside,
Politics
he's had
aside.
great publicity on the back of the fact that it's open, then not open, then nearly open, then it did open. We were meant to see it weeks ago.
Oh, and it got closed down.
And it
because
got
of,
closed
a
down.
positive test.
It was the weekend before all restrictions were lifted.
Typical.
They had a positive outbreak, and then it was closed again, so we couldn't see it. But we're seeing it now.
We've seen it now. They deferred the tickets, and here we are.
Yes.
Cinderella. Now I'm kind of thinking, gosh, we know this.
Yeah,
so
classic
what new
fairy
is gonna
tale,
come to this?
Prince,
Pantomime all the time.
panto, glass slipper.
Rogers
off
and
to
is it
your-
Rogers and Hammerstein that have
to
also
your
done a
balls.
Cinderella?
Yes, and there's been a bit of a
So-
plagiarism accusation, hasn't there?
Has there?
Between the song Bad Cinderella and he said another suitcase in another hall then. That's not right.
But
empty
another-
chairs and empty tables? No. Something about a stool in my own little corner.
Is that from Rogers and Hammerstein?
Yes.
Okay.
Which apparently sounds very much like Bad Cinderella, which is one of the numbers from this.
Intentionally? Is that Lloyd
Well,
Webber's
I
nod,
think there's a
maybe?
claim that there's an homage, but
Where
I don't
there's
think
claim,
things-
there's a gain.
I
There's
don't.
where there's gain, there's a claim. Where there's
Try
claim,
what, go
there's
on.
blame. Blame.
Where there's blame, there's a
Yeah.
claim. Where there's plagiarism,
What do
there's
we
a
need
claim.
to know about this?
What do we need to know? Well, it's loosely based on the classic fairy story of the same name, but the gender relationships have been rethought. There's a thematic element about beauty shaming. What is a princess? What is beautiful? What is attractive? Cinderella, music Andrew Lloyd Webber, lyrics David Zippel, and book by Emerald Fennell. Emerald Fennell is predominantly an actress as far as I know. I know her as playing Camilla Parker Bowles in The Crown.
Oh, but she's recently been acclaimed as a writer and director for Promising Young Women, which is fantastic.
I've not
fantastic
seen
film.
that. Is it good?
Yes, it's really good, and she's got awards for that as well. And it's a
Interesting.
really good film.
Themes of feminism in that then, it sounds like to me.
Yes.
So I'd imagine
And
some of that
empowerment.
in this as
Yeah.
well. I would also want to shout out, obviously, some of the cast that you will have seen perform some numbers from the show already if you've seen television at all in the past year. Carrie Hope Fletcher is playing the title role of Cinderella.
Great to see her doing this.
You have got Rebecca Traherne playing the Queen, who's not in tonight. She's out tonight, so we have a understudy going on for that part. Victoria Hamilton Barrett, who we loved in The View Upstairs.
We did.
I met her bloody centuries ago when she did Flashdance.
Wow.
She played Alex in Flashdance.
Oh my goodness.
She was great. Like
Wow.
she is great. I'm a really, really big fan of her.
Okay.
What else do we need to know? We've got some newcomers as well in the cast, by way of Prince Sebastian, played by Ivano Turco. And we also have not such a newcomer, Gloria Onatiri, who we saw in 101 Dalmatians. Check out our review for that up there. She was also in Hades Town.
Yes.
Also Laura Baldwin, original Dawning waitress, and she was also the female lead in Eugenius.
Oh wow.
Yes,
I remember.
Love her.
Yes, brilliant.
Great voice. 2 hours 20-ish, 2 hours and a half with an interval. We've been promised Cubes of Theatre. There's been a lot of hype about this show, so I'm looking
Lots
forward to
of you
finding out
fellow
what I
leggers
think.
have been interested in our thoughts
Yeah.
of this as well. So
and you're
we're
going to
keen
get
see
them.
it.
What
get
you're
them.
also going to get is a costume change. Because, darlings, it's not only the cast that get to have, a full costume change in between acts. We're having one as well.
So stick around to see the costume change.
Yeah.
30-second interval breakdown.
That's it. We'll call it the costume change from now on. And stick around to the end to find out all of our thoughts and how many stars.
We've come to the interval, fellow leggers, which means it's time for the break, leggers.
30-second interval breakdown. Go! What do you think so far?
Okay, so a couple of good things. I think the cast is very talented, some really good characterization in there. I'm also liking the modern take, like it's a story we know, but seeing it done in a different way. Everything else I can kind of leave. How about you?
I'm on the fence as well. Like, I just don't know whether I'm not the audience for it at the moment. Let's see what happens in the second half. I'm open-minded and optimistic. Am I won over come the interval? No, I'm not. Love the performance and don't like...
We've come to the end, fellow leggers, of Cinderella. So, come the interval, we weren't too sure.
Did it take you to the balls?
Did it take me to the balls?
Did it grab you by the balls? Did it take you to the balls? I've got to say, what I did like about it is, in the book, in the actual script, it wasn't shying away from being quite edgy, quite, adult. It wasn't a pantomime, it wasn't a kids show, and it wasn't trying to be family friendly in those moments, and I liked that. There's a bitch flown around, the V's were flying, and I mean, there's gays kissing. What's not to love?
Spoiler, but...
It is going to be spoilers, right? We don't say when or how. So, but I can't guarantee this is not going to be spoiler free. So if you've not seen the show and you're planning on seeing the show, come back to this review after you've seen the show. If you're not bothered, then just carry on watching. If you don't care. Don't blame us.
This is a real mix of a show, actually, because I think my opinion come the interval is probably the same come the end, in that I thought everyone knows Cinderella. And there's lots of versions of Cinderella. We see Cinderella at every pantomime, as we said. We've got Cinderella, they've just released one on Prime as well. So yeah, Cinderella is out there. And when you hear Andrew Lloyd Webber is going to do Cinderella, you think, oh gosh, what new can you bring to this?
Well, when I hear Andrew Lloyd Webber's going to do anything, I say, oh God. But
I liked that they took all those elements, and almost all of the elements, they kind of twisted into a different shape. So it was a new story. It was like, okay, where are we going with this? And where are we going with that?
The guy sitting next to me said, as a result of that, did it need to be called just plain Cinderella? Are they actually selling the wrong sort of product? For example, Wicked is a Wizard of Oz story, but they didn't call it like the Wizard of Oz the prequel, did they? It's got its own identity.
Yeah.
So he was asking the question, should this have just been called Belleville, which is the area in which it's set in, or Bad Cinderella? But I suppose that would have given the tabloid journalists too many puns to go, it's bad and it knows it. But you know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's a bit of
there's something in there.
But is this Cinderella? Yes and no, and I think that's the point that you're making.
So
it's familiar, but also new.
Familiar but new. So I liked that. I liked the kind of twists on the characters and the stereotypes and all of that stuff. I loved all of that. The other thing I loved was exactly as I said, is some of the performances are really good.
Some of the performances are really good.
And almost rescue this turkey of a score, I've got to say.
Yes, and the score is turkey. There is nothing in it we haven't heard before of Andrew Lloyd Webber. So many themes that are familiar, so many lyrics you can sing over the top of this song, and just nothing very edgy or new about it. I felt bored with the music, to the point that I was watching the conductor, the MD, because more was going on, so I was sort of that, and that's for the staging as well. The staging of the musical numbers, diabolical in some places, just boring. I was thinking, should I be looking at the stage? And then I was thinking, well, why? What's the point?
And when we've seen such creative, imaginative storytelling and pushing through of narratives through the writing of the numbers and the movement of the numbers and the staging of the numbers, a lot of this was just wishy-washy. Pretty much most of the numbers, bar one or two from the first act, I could have just lost. They almost stunted the action. When it was the text between the songs, the characters were great and the writing was great and it was funny, and then the song would start and it would almost like dip, and I'd be like, oh gosh, can we get to the end of this song so we can get back to the fun characters and the quips and Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
there was
almost
only one
enjoyed.
number.
I almost enjoyed that as a play more than I did as a musical,
Yeah.
and that was the problem. The music did nothing for it.
There was one
at
number
all.
in the second act around love, and it was about love. That musically, I was like, "Oh, this is nice," and this is coming.
Too long for a damn love song. Far
is-
too boring on the stage.
And the thing is, not only is it the same songs that you've heard from Lloyd Webber, but there's the same songs in the show that then are just reprieved in the second act. And it's like, well, come on, we've heard this song now, and it's like almost all the characters sing the songs they've sung before, and it's like, oh, come on, give me something new, give me something fresh.
Yes,
so,
I would absolutely agree. That's the sad thing. The magic is in Emerald Fennell's book. It's not in Andrew Lloyd Webber's music, and it's not in David Zippel's lyrics. Like, it's not. But that being said, it sang it was performed and sang beautifully. Like the best it could be sang.
Top caliber performers.
That
from the
material
whole company.
could not have been performed better.
Yes.
That's what, and I'd take that to the grave, basically.
Yeah, the caliber of everyone, from the lead to the ensemble,
what I
the
loved,
dancing.
Well, let's talk about the dancing for a second. This is, Joann M. Hunter is the choreographer. What was it you said about the dance break in one of the numbers?
Oh, it was early on when it turned into Magic Mike, and I hadn't seen it for such a long time.
But like,
where people just dance for dance's sake in a musical.
It was Magic Mike because it was topless men in bondage gear gyrating around the floor.
Maybe I just wasn't on board, because
it felt old-fashioned.
All the numbers I've seen in musicals of late that have been great have been, driving a narrative,
interwoven
and they
with the
suddenly
narrative.
threw the young prince in at the end to try and make it look as if he wasn't living up to it. But it's like that should have been interwoven as a narrative through the whole of that staging of that number.
Bitty. Something wasn't
I wanted
joining
more.
The music with the lyrics, with the book. It just wasn't sewing together. It's three separate entities, and in terms of the music, you're not going to get any more seeing it because the staging's not very good than you would listening to the cast recording. That you won't get any more by seeing the music on stage, is what I would say.
It's a difficult
but you don't get the book. And you need the play of this is very, very good.
Play. It's a really lovely space. I love this theatre. Then they make full use of the theatre and using the whole full revolve, not just the on-stage revolve, but also the audience
the
stalls
orchestra
revolve.
Pit and that
yeah,
revolve.
And that's lovely in the second act when we go to the ball. Like it's a visual spectacle.
It is. It
that
made
everyone
started talking because it was such a coup de theatre.
Yeah, and it looked lovely.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know what? This is magical. Like this is picked it up just a little bit.
I would say that actually there are a couple of things I'd like to call out in the creative. I would say best. If we're doing best musical, I don't think we do best book. But if we did do best book, I'd give a Break a Legger's nomination to Emerald Fennell.
Best book.
Best
there we go.
lighting designer, Break a Legger's nomination for Bruno Poet. I would say that absolutely deservedly. And best set and costume designer. I thought the costumes
were
sensational. They don't fit. Where is this set? Because it's in France, right? But when is this set?
It's almost like a fabulous Game of Thrones at times. I thought, with all the fur and the tight leather. It's a fabulous
modern day surgery techniques and electric lights over hospital beds.
No, I like
being
that.
Now, but also old-fashioned medieval style clothing.
I like that style. I like it. It's a nice twist.
But I liked it. Gabriella Tyler Sova is set and costume design. Loved it.
Can we talk about cast?
Yeah, let's talk about some cast. Let's start right at the top. Let's talk about Carrie Hope Fletcher.
She is great.
She is great.
She the delivery of her lines, as it's just when she's going through the book, is brilliant. Perfectly well placed, thrown away, and she
thrown away in a good way, like thrown away where it should be. Not like there's nothing. Not throw away as in what you mean is a naturalism.
She's not trying to be funny.
Yes, you mean it's a natural.
She just is, and she gets it.
She's in the moment.
She is that character.
And this is what I think.
Beautifully placed.
Carrie, I've spoken about this before. Carrie gets a bum deal because people think, well, she can't be a great author and a great YouTuber and a great actress and a great singer. But she's all of those things. And I would challenge, I would argue, I would fight anybody who said differently. Best actress in a musical, Carrie Hope Fletcher, Break a Legger's nomination, right there. Again, she is every bit a leading lady.
Yeah, we've seen her twice. I've seen her twice now. You've seen her more because you saw her in the Addams Family. But I've enjoyed everything she's done.
Yeah, everything she's done. Let's talk about. We had an understudy tonight.
We did.
In the role of the Queen. We had Jessica Curtin going on instead of Rebecca Traherne, and I would. I don't know how that could be bettered.
I thought
all of the decisions.
If you hadn't told me, I would have thought that was it.
She plays eight times a week. That's how that came across.
It's so fluid. It's a great, perfectly
cast. Can we start a breaker leggers for best understudy?
We just did best understudy.
Best understudy. I think go back to Heathers as well and nominate who we saw as Veronica as well for that award. So when we do our roundup at the end of the year, if there's a couple slipped in, that's why. Because we've only just come up with the category and we've seen some understudies. So let's talk about Caleb Roberts as Prince Charming. Bit of a cameo at the end.
I thought he was perfectly cast. I really enjoyed what he did,
but not too camp.
I thought it was great, actually.
Liked him.
Yeah, I really liked what he was doing.
Let's talk about Gloria Onatiri. We last saw in 101 Dalmatians
at the Birmingham Rep.
We last saw her in Hadestown, but she was a siren. She was in
I do remember.
Yes, but
the three of them were great vocals and
that's the point with Gloria. You don't get a vocal, you get a vocal.
And in this, you get a vocal.
You really.
I didn't get her part in the writing.
No.
I was a bit confused storyline.
Underdeveloped character.
I liked that they play with the fairy godmother. She's not a fairy. She's she's a bit evil. She's almost more like a Disney evil character.
But why is she evil?
Crossed with
Cruella de Vil.
Crossed with who is it in Little Shop of Horrors? The dentist.
Yes.
Crossed with the dentist. So I liked that interplay. So, but she did great with it. Her vocal was great.
But that character deserves more backstory.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get another musical about her.
Well,
that's a big thing at the moment, isn't it?
There could be something there, which could then make sense of this and her story in this.
Basically, we need somebody, not Andrew, to write another musical just about her. That'd be really good. Let's talk about Ivano Turco in the role of Prince Sebastian.
Really nice casting. I liked the casting. I thought he was good, and then he started dancing. And I thought, whoa, okay, you got skills.
Fresh out of drama school,
you
West End
skills,
debut.
Man.
Very few credits, and he's now playing a lead.
Yeah,
and he deserves it. Great presence, great acting. Really enjoyed him. Laura Baldwin, I've always loved her as Adele, one of the sisters, the ugly stepsister parts. We saw Laura in Waitress as Dawn. We saw her as Super Hot Lady in Eugenius, and yet again, she is a fantastic, tiny, minuscule, but massive voice and massive presence. I love Laura.
She's great.
And Georgina Castle as Marie, the other ugly sister. I loved her as well.
Again, they had some really nice scenes early on, and then we kind of lost them. They kind of didn't come out again.
I feel like maybe we met Georgina in 9 to 5, and we saw 9 to 5 maybe. And let's, stop.
There's one reason to see this show.
Pack up now.
Do you want to come and explain?
Victoria Hamilton Barrett.
Victoria Hamilton Barrett is amazing.
That's me bowing down to you, my dear.
Like, she's phenomenal in this.
We could give her a Breaker Leggers Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress in a Musical, so we will, but it's an Olivier that's coming her way. I bet my soul on
in a musical.
Like, I will bet my entire
Olivier
soul
Award.
that Victoria Hamilton Barrett, if you've got no other reason to come and see this show, you're coming to see it for her, and it's worth every single penny that you will pay just for that, and she will get an Olivier Award next year.
Yes, I
hands down.
From all the theatre we've seen over the years, this is the calibre of the Olivier Award winner.
Yep.
What she brings to this role in the creation of this role.
And you can tell it's her choices have stuck. I can tell it's Victoria's choices.
And to have that freedom and that creativity and that bravery as a performer to bring something and not just be...
She plays it. The only way I can sort of describe it is Gillian Anderson does Margaret Thatcher combined with Patricia Routledge's Hyacinth Bouquet via Bette Lynch of The Rover's Return. That's the only way I can if I had to summarise it. And you know what? If that sounds messed up, it is. Does it work? Yes. Is it gloriously camp? Yes. Is she an icon for gay men all over the world? Absolutely.
The characters, everything, vocally, she's great as well. Because I was thinking, okay, this is more of an acting part, maybe. This is what she's in for. But the vocal is faultless.
She is.
A beautiful vocal as well.
Singing. How does she sing character? 8 times a week in that accent? How do you sing in that? I would be absolutely exhausted.
But it's pretty singing as well. It's not ugly. But it suits
does
it.
She do it? I can only imagine that she, before I said about selling your soul, she's already done it for that talent.
Anything else we want to throw in for this? At the moment?
Not really.
Okay.
Let's just round it up and then we'll talk about why we've given it that rating.
You're probably wondering how many stars then we are going to give Cinderella. Currently playing here at the Gillian Lynne Theatre in London's West End.
We are going to give 3.
3 stars for this piece!
It's
A 3-star show with 5-star elements at
yeah.
times. 5-star performances here and
like
there. 5-star cast.
And the lyrics drag it down.
The music does nothing for it. It doesn't move the story along. It doesn't inject energy. Especially during the first act.
It's beautiful to listen
beautifully
to.
sang,
But-
beautifully performed.
but it doesn't sit in the piece.
What they're working with just doesn't elevate. Doesn't give pizzazz.
Tragic,
It's just
Tragic.
okay. Next.
Give it to another composer. We might change our minds.
Yeah.
But not here. Not in this.
But all those winning elements,
Yeah.
Celia, the cast, the story is really
and the
interesting
set.
and fun,
And
the
the
set is nice,
mechanics.
and it's beautiful.
Good. Lighting. And Victoria Hamilton Barrett. So 5 stars for her.
But hey,
And Karen.
that's
obviously.
totally just what I think.
It's what I think. We've lost a bit of light. What do you think? We'd love to hear from you. We
Let
are
us
the
know.
Break a Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.